Fine. Uh, so yesterday we launched the form, and you can just come here, and you must find that once that form is ready, right? And you will find that uh, the form that you have tested yesterday, you will find here in the inbox. Here you can see that. So the reason why we have not seen the form was not complete. So that's why still it is in progress. And another reason is we have included email notification. So once the form is ready, and it will be sent a notification to registered email, and then you can come here, and otherwise you can access it from your own email. Right. So let us check it here. So whenever you have launched your form, so you should always check here whether whatever that you have enabled and all the things are included properly or not. The reason is sometimes you don't find the options that we have included. For example, writing assistant. So we are just given here, right? So here you can see that objectives, we have enabled this one, and you also should enable check your spelling checker and everything. And you can see here now what you can do, you can see there is a goal plan, right? So we can add a goal, see here, and you should also see that a smart goal wizard. This will help users some how we can the instructions to use the goals. So this will help smart way of using the goals. Or if you want to add a goal, you can just go and click on that add a goal, whichever the goals which we have, and that can be added here. And still already there is a goal plan which is included here. You can see here that example. Right. So the same way you should be able to find out, right? Whichever that you have done a configuration as an administrator, whether you have enabled the option to add a goals, whether you have, enabled in the advanced settings for all other competencies, or maybe your performance roadmaps and everything, you need to check it, right? The option should be the same, and you can see everything is being enabled here. And you can see that core values, even you can see that which we have enabled added the competencies, you can see. So what you can do, you can select any one of them, or if you want to see that competencies by roles, and you can also see here in the competencies by role section and all the competencies. So whichever that competency, but when you are creating competencies, it depends. Are you allowing the users to add the competencies? So you just go and add. And when you are going to launch a form and you see the rating, right? You can just go and give the rating, whether it's unsatisfactory, whether it is a needs development, you know, it meets expectations. And you see, next one, you see, why it's loading? It's stuck. Fine. So now you can see a lot of other things, right? Even with the core values, every section which you configured is properly, configured or not. So what you can do, you can just go and do whatever you want, and you can see even a performance summary, right? Your core overall score, what you can do. But here also you can see in the advanced settings, you have enabled a lot of other things like, deleting options, but you don't see the delete option here, right? So what you need to do again, you have to just go back to the same form for this annual review form 2016, and you need to just go and verify. If not, again you have to just go and enable all those functionalities, and you can also see the signature stage. Once it is done, then you can just go and finalize the form. Then what happens once you finalize the form, and this will be routing towards the next step. Okay, this will be routing to the next step, and that's how, where you need to place your form templates. And must see this is the old one. So you have to click on sign in, and then what happened, this will send you to the next step, and you can just go and evaluate the form is complete, and it will be there in the completed status. This is the one here. So what you can do, you can do number of changes here, and you can route the forms, and whoever you include the roles when you created your form template, so the form will be performing accordingly. But you have to always verify that whether these are properly included, these options or not. Next, you see here actions. If you want to click on that, you can see that the form opens, and you can just go and add whatever. You can just close the form, and you can just see getting started, mid-year review, and year-end review, and signature, and completed. And you can just go and see overall performance of this particular form template, and you can just go back, right? So you can just come here and you can just do, but there are other things that we also have to manage even after the form is launched, maybe successfully, or maybe the form is not routing properly, right? Suppose by mistake we just delete the forms. So is it possible to restore a form? Yes, we can do it. Or sometimes when a form is successfully tested. So what you can do, if you want to delete the form immediately, you can just go and delete the form. Or by mistake you have deleted a form and you want to restore the form. So what you can do, you can just delete the form, you can restore the form anytime as an administrator. Right. So first let us go and find the form to delete whichever that you want to delete. Right. Click on this, manage forms by users. Here also, and here also you can access here directly. Right. First we'll just go and delete a form. Right. You can see there are a number of options. You can use any one of these options. So I'm just going to use the username. So, but there are no forms, right? So let us go back to again to now you can see there are a number of forms, right? I just want to delete this form, but remember 1651. Okay, this code is also important for some stage, some important steps. Now you can see each form when it is, you can see the status, right? It's completed. Okay, now it is, you can see everything here. But if you want to just delete any of the form when it is tested, or maybe when it is rotated, and if you just want to see any of the forms, and you can just go and click on delete here. Now once a form is successfully deleted, you will never find that form here in the performance, either in inbox, whether it is in a completed status, you will never find that form anywhere. So by mistake you have just deleted, and I want to restore the form, so back to the system. All right, so again you just go back to your admin center and come here, manage forms by users, and click on here. Right, here you see that restore a deleted forms. You can just go and click on here, restore the deleted forms, and search for the same way the username. Now you will find that form here which has been deleted on this date. You can see here, and the user, and it's one by the deleted, and you can just go back and click on restore. But you will find that this ID, this form will be sent back to your inbox within your performance stage. You will find there. Right. So this is something, some additional features where we can restore, and whichever that, the form by mistake, if you try to delete. But there are some forms, right? I want to reroute it even after the form has been launched. Right, maybe in the routing, there are some workflows, there are some steps, maybe what do you call, from modify stage to the signature stage, and the signature student. I want to reroute the form even though the form has been launched. So now you as an administrator, you can route the forms to a different stages, so for your review process within your admin center. So again, if you want to route the forms, even though the form has been launched, you can just go and click on route a form. So now you need to just go and search for your forms if you want to route it. But you should remember the ID, the form root ID, but you don't remember, right? You can just go and click on search without entering anything here, and you'll find number of forms here, right? Since ours is, for example, 1631, we'll take this 1631, okay? So you need to just go and select this button and simply just go and click on next. Right. Why we need to do this, routing the forms sometimes, depending upon your requirement, depending upon your selection, you can move the form. Maybe you can move multiple forms at a time, and something your current step to the maybe next step, and your next step to the previous step, and you can see here, right? You see that the current stage, okay? How you can identify the current step which is highlighted in a green mark, okay? This indicates that the form is in a current stage. So now you need to route the form, but here you can see there are a number of options to route the form. So here what you can do, you can just move the completed form back to the modifying stage, or you can move it to the signature stage, or you can also move it to the any of the specific stage. You can see here. Otherwise you can move it to the specific step. You can do whatever you want. Even you can also route the form on behalf of any user if required. Now, if you just see this one, I want to move the form. For example, if you just select here, move the form to step forward. Now you see, this is the current form, and you see the form has to be moved to the maybe skip for validation, skip step to the continuous process, okay, or validate the form, or if you want to move to the any specific step, you can see here under the drop down. Right, I want to move it to the specific step, and you can just go and click on next. Now you are rerouting the form. Now you see that your document for route map changes has been scheduled and the system process, and you will receive a notification, right? So you can just go back and click on admin tools. Now since there are no steps, but some route maps, they will be having multiple steps, right? We have seen the general a modifying stage and the completion stage, signature stage, and so on. But at that time you have to carefully review on behalf of whom you want to route the form, which kind of steps you want to send back, and which steps you want to move forward. For example, if you want to move the form to the signature stage as a new step, now what we need to do, you can just select with all the options you find there, and you can just go and route the form, and you can change the settings, and immediately the changes will be applied. Now for example, I want to route a completed forms as well. Okay, I want a route a completed forms. So you may need to route the forms even for another step which are already completed. So what you can do, you can just come here. You see here route completed forms, or you can also see the route, okay, deleted forms as well. Now let us try this route completed forms. So when this kind of this route completed forms happens, maybe at the time of when the form was accidentally signed, and when the form is accidentally completed. So before all the final comments were supposed to be entered. So what you can do, you can move this completed form or performance form back to the modify stage or back to the signature stage. Let us try that, right? So we have to just go on select the form, and if you remember the ID, you can just go and give the ID, or if you don't remember, you can just go and select the employee and give the username and find, and you will find all the users. I just directly selected this form. Now you can see this is the roadmap, the modify stage, and you can see here signature stage. And you see it is a new, it's showing that it's being created by whom, and you can see the roles which were just selected while we created this form. Now I want to wrote this document. Okay, now you just go and click on this wrote document. So this is saying that this form is not supported for this, right? You can just find the document. So there are no forms completed currently for this particular user. Right, what you can do, you can see the stages, and you see here signature stage and evaluation stage, and you can see you can just go on wrote the document. But for example, I didn't click on here 51651, right? Let's go and wrote the form. Now you see that it is in an evaluation stage. Now you want to move it to the signature stage, you can just go and select and the document is in this stage and cannot be routed through this function. Okay, so what do we need to do? But still it is not possible. Is it possible any other way? Yes, it is possible. We will do that. Yeah. So if you want to route a completed documents, you can also use this function where you can also send the modify stage to the signature stage and the signature stage to the modify stage. Now, we also have one more functionality that where you can also approve the forms. You can see here. So when the form is in a signature stage, or you can complete the current step directly, without requiring any of document training. Now you see the form routed successfully. When we will use this one approve document, when the form is in a signature stage, and you can complete the current step and move the form to the next step. Okay, what happened? The form will be sent to the next step by approving the form. When you approve a form, you are signing on behalf of another user. What is happening when you click, when you use this functionality? What's happening? You are going to use on behalf of another user, whichever that the form ID you are assigned while you created the roles. Maybe when the maybe this form may be used or created by any user, but still the form is in a signature stage, and you can also directly complete the form by using this approve a document. Right. Still, there are so many other changes we can do here in the system. All right. Even for changing the dates for the forms which we have already launched. Right. So if you want to change the form, for example, we have used some dates, right, in the advanced settings, the due date, or the start date, or end date. But my client is asking to change that, change the dates which we have already updated. So if that is the case, you can just go on, click on manage forms by users, and click on change form date. This is one. Now again, you will find the same way. For example, I'm just going to select admin S and search for user. And if you know the ID, you can also go and enter. That's why we should remember the dates. And you see that the current step for this 1651 is mid-year review, and other forms are not on process. Now you just go and click on this 1651, and before that you also have a filtering options. If it's enabled, you can just go and see that and click on a change date. Now if you want to change the dates for this form, and you can see the change the start date and this change the end date and change the due date. For example, you may extend the days, maybe which are maybe specific, or you can just go and select here like this, or otherwise you can also extend the days or months, and you can see the number of options here. Now I want to extend this form extra 6 more days. So you can just go on extend. It depends upon. Now you can just go and save the dates. Are you sure that the dates for selected one document? Yes. Now you see the form successfully changed the start date, the end date, and due date as well. The failed to change is 0. So you can change even though the form has been launched, and you can do whatever you want. Next one. Now we'll understand about form template settings, and we have seen in the performance management manage templates, right? You can see, but now you see there is something form template settings. Why we need to do that? This is something, the form template settings are nothing but roadmaps. Form template settings are nothing but roadmaps. You as an administrator, you can modify these form template are nothing but roadmaps. So what you are going to do, you are going to adjust the features and all the processes. Let us go and do that something here. But when you're going to change something here, you have to be aware that this may also affect the form which is already may be used by any user. So you have to be very carefully review it. Otherwise you can just go on do whatever you want unless if there is a requirement. So now if you can just go and click on any of the link, for example annual review. So what you can do, you can see number of changes. You can see for example when you just scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you can see there are a lot of options, like see that the keep enable spelling checker, and enable legal scan, disable legal scan routing. A lot of things you can disable and you can enable, and you can do whatever you want by using this. What is that? Managing the form templates. You can see here. So once it is done, you can just go on update. In the same way, you can also download the form template as well. You can see that option as well. And you want to go back to your all the forms, and if you want to open and save one more document, you can just go on click on this, right? So if you have this kind of requirement, you can just go on update all these form templates. So this is something where you can just go and change even though the form has been updated, but still you are allowed if required to change your form template settings. So directly you don't have to go and click on manage form templates. You go there to the general settings, you go and click on advanced settings. You don't require to go there. You can just go on, come here and click on form templates. So this is how the some of the things where we need to work on. Next, we also see the rating scales. Now I want to change the rating scales. That means when you have created the rating scales, sometimes I want to change maybe description. I want to change existing rating scales, and I want to update something information in the forms that has to be updated for the forms which my rating scale has been updated. So you can just go and do whatever you want. Maybe with this name of the rating scale, maybe the label, or maybe description. And then if required, you can just go and change. It is also the same way you can do it, right? So by that, we are understanding whichever the most of the features that we need to understand. You can see the roadmap, and you can see there are a lot of other things, right? If you want to modify the form roadmap, you can also modify it. See here, now just go and search for an ID. I didn't explain this. Did I explain this one? No. Right. What is that you are going to do here, modifying a roadmap? Here you can just go and do number of activities, like, if you want to add any of new steps to any of these stages, and if you want to delete, or if you want to reorder, so you can just go and do any time, no problem. So it will access something. I'm just changing the sequence. Okay, I'm just go and click on next, and you will see the summary here, okay, of if your changes are updated successfully. You can see the changes here, and you can just go on back to the search forms. Otherwise you can go back to the admin tools. Right, I think you have anything, you can ask me now. So these things we have already seen: the email notification template settings, company dictionary, legal scan library, legal scan import, and so on, which we have already seen earlier. And these things that you see here in the advanced settings, you find all these options. Okay, in the advanced settings, where you enable the delete buttons and you enable the legal scan library, you just enable some of additional functionalities. They are coming from here, right? So you'll find in the advanced settings, or otherwise you can just come here to the manage template settings, and under the general settings you will find these options where you can do number of activities. I'll try to send you the even for this how the XML document is going to look like. See here. So you can just directly go and click on form template settings. Right. So since you already asked some of the classes on reporting, I'll try to send them all, because there are so many other topics need to be explained in AC. So I'll try to explain that as many as classes, which is going to be because we have seen a lot of classes, but still what happened, right? There are a lot of changes also happen. But I just compare the current version of the system and the previous version of the system, and we have seen a lot of things in data models, and there are so many behavioral changes have been taken place from last 3 months onwards, from 2015, the last quarter onwards. But we should review all the behavioral changes to the system, when even with regarding, for example, legal entity, business unit, division, and department. Even you don't find the current version of the system, these things in the corporate data model, and these things have been migrated to the geo objects. Geo object means, anybody? Geo object means, FO object means, FO. Somebody can try.
Foundation.
Foundational
Geo
object.
is global.
Geo means,
Global. Global object.
geo objects means generic objects.
Generic objects.
Yeah. So these objects have been moved to the migrated to the, you know if you that's why I told you all metadata framework is very important, because that SAP is planning to move the entire configurations into the MDF only. You
So
see
other
that,
than this, or anything else got moved into configuration objects? No, right?
what is that?
Right now it's only division, legal entity,
Business
department.
division, yeah, only those things. Yeah.
Yeah, only four got moved, right?
Yeah, by 1608 version, now the current one is 1508. By 1608, even a person objects also will be moved to the geo objects. So that's already given a statement recently. I already updated in my Facebook as well. So there are a lot of things, this will not, but this performance management and goal management